Greetings and collectors, this is me, Daniel East 12,000, back again with another Star Wars figure review. And today we're not going to be having a look at Black Series, oh no. We're not going to be having a look at Micro Galaxy Squadron, oh no. We're going to be having a look at Vintage Collection. Oh my god! Am I feeling well? Yes, I know a lot of people say, oh, Daniel East 1000 doesn't like 3 3/4 inch.
It's Vintage Collection.
I don't. I just think it's slightly overpriced for what it is at this point. But this particular item, when I saw it at Star Wars Celebration, I was like, I do kind of sort of be needing this. Like with everything they showed at Celebration this year. So it looks very, very nice. I very need it in my collection. Even though I don't really know where I'm going to put it. And even right now I'm questioning. Nonetheless, we got this big old box come through in the post today. Luckily I was here to collect it just in time as I was out on my little walkies. As they say, let's crack this bitch open, shall we? Oh boy. Hello, you sexy little devil. You beautiful big vehicle. Oh yes, it is none other than the Vintage Collection N-1 Mandalorian Starfighter. Oh boy. This RRP's at a very hard pill to swallow of £130. I know some people got this sooner from importing stock, but I'm pretty sure this was slated for October, November time. And, well, it's September, Hasbro, so, you know, pre-ordering at the minute is a bit nuts. Just a little bit of a side deviation here. Pre-ordering is just nuts. It's hard to gauge when stuff's going to come in. It's coming in later. Sometimes it's coming in earlier. It's a mess. I'd really like them to sort that out. It's just a nightmare for managing pre-orders. That's why I've stopped pre-ordering full waves. But even so, in this case, let me know before you're going to slip it in, Hasbro. Let's just put it that way. But nonetheless, we've got it here and now. First and foremost, though, we should probably talk about packaging. So, of course, you've got in that Vintage Collection styling with the sort of silver border and the Mandalorian logo at the top there. Although this vehicle's first appearance was in the Book of Boba Fett, so I'm not too sure why they've put Mandalorian there. It's fitting, it's fine, but you know, just kind of interested in that. Lovely picture, glam shot of the actual vehicle and figure packing as well. You've got a rundown of all the things that it does come with. Very, very nice. Kenner at the bottom there, obviously. Also notates the figure in the Vintage Collection packaging as well. On the side you got a rundown of some of the features, of course. At the top there, Mandalorian Starfighter, more rundown of the features. Apparently you can put R5D4 in there, which is quite cool. Yeah, then you've got a bit of legal McGuffle at the bottom as well. So that's the packaging. It's as we've come to expect, really, with Vintage Collection. It's lovely stuff, don't get me wrong. So let's actually crack this thing open now.
Whew, well, how was it?
Wizard.
Okay, so here we have it. We have the Mandalorians and one Starfighter. Let's cut this little bad boy open. I say little, it's huge. Oh god. Oh good grief. Bloody hell. It's a right wrestling match with that. Flipping heck. We've got some destructions. Lovely. A big sheet, legal gab and piece of paper. Oh, kid hell. Right. Let's have a look at these. Too long didn't read. Oh baby, so we've got a 3 3/4 inch Mandalorian, unpunched as well. Oh, remember those days when people used to get moist over that? I do, I remember. Very nice picture from Mandalorian Season 3 there as well. Of course he comes with the Beskar staff, the Darksaber, his knife as well, that's quite cool, and his blaster. It shows other figures you can get in the line. Oh lovely, I'm sure to be picking probably one of those up actually. I wouldn't mind Cad Bane to have carded. Pretty sweet. I will be opening this, obviously. Not going to leave it in card, am I? Touch grass. Oh, and we've got the display stand. That's very nice, I have to say. Love that. That's some bang for your buck right there, definitely, I'm going to have to say. Let's get some of this foil wrap it out.
Oh God, there's a lot of bits and pieces, isn't there?
Good gravy. And are all these little baggies? Maybe I am going to have to read the instructions rather than be a superior know-it-all. Well, there is some assembly required. We'll probably fast forward this bit, to be honest with you. Got some engines here. Tailpiece. God, you got all sorts. Engine. Grogu. More things. Oh, sweet, that's cool. So, the little thingy piece that the Jawas bring for dinner.
These critters could find a scud in a krill pond. Will that do?
Where do they get a cryogenic density combustion booster?
Do you really want to know?
I think RoboQuiff Collect's mentioned this to me already. That's just reminding me. But yeah, you actually fit it where it's meant to go. So, yeah, that's quite cool and scene specific and accurate. That goes in there like that. Then that. Slots in there. I think that's it. It's a bit loose fitting though. I think I'm missing a bit. So there's meant to be 2 of these because it says, yeah, A, B. I've only got 1. Right, I had a little autism flare up over nothing. There's actually only meant to be 1, so you can either have it on this panel or this panel. It's up to you, but you only get 1. I am a dinkum. I mean, when you look at that in the instructions, you think, yeah, A and B. Thanks, Hasbro, but it's so good. Look at this thing, though, ain't it beautiful? But first, before we take a look at this big chongus, let's move all the bits out the way. It is all complete, it's all good. Let's open up the FIGGIE is vintage collection packaging. Now, I know some people are, oh no, keep it in the box, Mr. 1000. I say never. I say never. I say it's coming out. It's coming out of the box because he needs to sit in his ship and he needs to fly his little ship. Because this is, of course, the Mandalorian N-1 Starfighter. You can't have any other Mandalorian inside this thing. Oh, no, no, no. I'm probably making a right hatchet job of this, but I don't care. It's my toy. I do want to keep the card. And as long as it's good enough, then I'm happy. Oh, lovely card back. Love that. So let's get this figure out of the plastic bubble. That's the Mandalorian. Very, very nice. It comes with a lot of accessories. Bit of a differentiation from what we get from Black Series. Oh, come on now. Let's get the Darksaber out. Only one person deserves the Darksaber, and we all know who that is. Darth Maul, of course. And Beskar Spear, which is kind of an interesting inclusion. And then he doesn't come with an Ambum rifle, which is quite interesting. Actually, look at the instructions. You can actually put his Ambum rifle into the ship, and it does actually put an asterisk there to make it clear that it doesn't come with it. So that's lovely. Thanks for that one, Hasbro. And of course the jetpack as well. So put his little jetpack on. That's very nice. Quite a nice tight fit, I'm going to assume, because of how chunky that peg is. Lovely. Love that. I do find vintage collection figures now, though, they're so bloody spindly because they're making them that accurate to the characters on screen. So, you know, quite impressed with it. I now feel like I'm going to break them nowadays, though, because I'm quite, you know, heavy-handed with my chunky fingers. Yeah, he's cool. I like that. I like that a lot. Oh, okay then. Bring the N-1 in. Well, let's get him seated in this bad boy. I've already put Grogu in the passenger seat. Flip that up, that's lovely. So you go for a little ride, old boy. You ready? Bit of a tight fit. Bit of a tight fit, but he'll go in. He's going to go in. Oh, lovely. Oh, love that. Fantastic. Bad boy. Bump pound. And of course, just open the back bit up again. You can put the accessories in. Maybe it helps if I actually follow the instructions on the intended side you're meant to fit them in. Maybe. Right, number 1. I think I'm being thick. Yes, I am. There we go. So that goes in there like that. Darksaber's in there. Then next up is the Beskar Spear, of which that slots through here. Oh, that's very tight, isn't it? Then you've got his little dagger, of which his dagger goes in there. Oh, the jetpack just stores quite nicely over like this. Oh, that's nice. And oh, I like that. Good job, Hasbro. That's quite cool. And here we have the Mandalorian's N-1 Starfighter. You're not the Mandalorian's N-1 Starfighter. You're Anakin Skywalker's N-1 Starfighter from A Phantom Menace. What do you think you're doing? Well, at least it is a nice little example as to what the original design did look like until Palibotto and Mando got their hands on the N-1 and created this absolute beast. Wow. This is ginormous. Absolutely incredible. A beautiful, beautiful piece. Hasbro's done an insanely good job on this thing. I've shown some of the features off already. The only thing that I haven't really shown is the fact that you can interchange the pod that Grogu is sat in. This does come in 3 parts. Of course, you've got the dome, you've got Grogu, and you've also got the sort of lower socket part which fits into the N1. There's an additional socket of which is blank, and it has a peg hole of which you can fit a astromech unit of your choice, providing it has the Build-A-Droid feature.
Which is why I think you should buy this beauty here.
As such, the intention is to put R5D4 in there, and was something that I can't really remember them showing at Celebration. Sadly, I don't have a Build-A-Droid figure on me to hand where I can show this feature off, but nonetheless that doesn't diminish how cool it is that they've included that with this vehicle. So if we just put Grogu back in there, of course he's pre-posed to look like he's pressing against the glass. There's lots of cool details on this ship. Additionally, if you look under the bottom here, you've got this big engine piece that they've definitely botched onto the vehicle. You've got these little undercannons as well, which you can fit. There's also missing panel parts where you can kind of see what almost looks like the rib cage of the N1. Just really, really gnarly. And then just to keep a bit of, you know, the innkeeping of the colour scheme of the N1, yes, it is all sort of silver, but there's some little hints of yellow lining on it, which I think is a really neat touch as well. A nod to its original Naboo colour scheme. I do think they could have gone for a more metallic silver. I think under certain lighting conditions it will look better. It certainly did at Celebration at least. But nonetheless, this is a really, really gorgeous piece, and it is very, very big for my standard. I don't typically pick up vehicles, but this was one that I had to get. Of course, you've got the engine there. It's very, very loose fitting. I'm not too sure why that is. I think they could have made a better peg socket for that. You've got the front cannons there. Of course, as we did mention, the panel can be removed, and there's only one panel included with this because in the actual show only one side is covered, the other side is exposed. Also, the cockpit does open at this point here, and that is a great storage facility for your accessories that both come with this figure, and if you did have the Ambon rifle that comes with other Mandos, you can store that in there as well. Additionally, Mando does sit in the cockpit really, really nicely. I would say it would have been nice to see a bit more painted features on the actual cockpit interior itself, but I'm fine with that personally. I'm sure customizers out there will have a field day maybe painting that up a bit more. Additionally as well, the cockpit does open more accurately like it does in the show, but of course it is quite difficult to get the figure out there, so it's really appreciated with the fact that you can remove the full carapace of the cockpit like that, so you can actually access the figure, but you can certainly have it open and, you know, turn Mando's head like that, and in that you can also replicate the card artwork. So yeah, that's a bit of a look at the N1 Starfighter. Let's just jump back to Din Djarin, aka the Mandalorian, to get more of a closer look at this figure as well. So here we have the Mandalorian 3 3/4 inch vintage collection FIGGIE. I do have to say, there's some things I like about this more than the Black Series one. Then alternatively, there are things that I like more about the Black Series one over this. But general vibes of it, very, very good. Just like I said, I'm finding a lot of vintage collection figures to be very spindly. And that's just because they are making them that accurate now that a lot of the joints, they feel to me a bit fragile. There's also some changes to joints as well that I think might be commonplace for most vintage collection collectors, but for me, bit of a curveball, suffice to say. But nonetheless, let's just get into him, get a nice close-up on this figgy. I love the silver that they've used on this guy, really, really great. The soft goods cape is a massive, massive welcome addition. Something that the Black Series figure should have really had. I hate the plastic cloak that they gave on that figure and every edition that they've done ever since, so I wish that the Black Series one would get a material cloak like this. I think they are doing that soon, but Vintage Collection did get it sooner, so not bitter at all. Really, really awesome jetpack as well. Of course, the peg on that is a lot more sturdier than, I'm going to say, the Black Series one as well. It doesn't fall out. It's quite a chunky peg for such a small figure as well, really. Additionally, if we just take the jetpack off, you can see where the reuse has come in, because there's a little peg slot for the N-1 rifle as well. Of course, when you take this jetpack off, it does leave a big gaping hole on the back of the Mando, but it's not too bad because you can disguise that with the cloak, which is really nicely weathered. Some nice tattering effect on there. Looks great. Of course, you've got his shoulder pads, one with the Mudhorn signet. You've got the chest armour, the bandolier going around. You've also got the detonators on his belt there, and the armour plates, which look absolutely awesome, on the legs as well. Just looks super, super detailed, and I'm really quite impressed, particularly at this scale, how good this figure is. The only thing that I'm kind of bummed about, really, is the fact that it doesn't particularly stand well. This is something that I've had commonplace with some of the vintage collection figures that I've picked up. It is definitely recommended to invest in some display stands for these. I don't know, for some reason, more modern 3 3/4 inch and vintage collection figures really struggle to get them to stand. So blue tack, display stands, probably the best way forwards for these guys. I think it's because they have packed that much articulation in again because of how accurate they are. It's kind of like a bragging point, but also a slight negative. Weird, really weird, but nonetheless, absolutely badass. Of course, some of the accessories that he does come with, as we've seen, the Beskar spear, the dark saber, which is really beautiful, and his blaster as well, of which you can fit into his holster. He does come with a teeny tiny little vibro blade, of which he does hold really well. But that's it in terms of accessories. Oh, and of course the jetpack as well, which we've already sort of mentioned. But yeah, what I would have really liked to have seen is if they include the N-1 rifle with him, but it's not a biggie. In terms of articulation, he has a ball-jointed head, ball-jointed shoulders, ball-jointed elbows, ball-jointed wrists, ball-jointed torso. There's ball joints in the hips, swivels at the tops of the thighs, ball-jointed knees, but in a very peculiar place from what I'm used to. Usually the ball actually sits in kind of like the lower part there, whereas now it sits at the top part of the leg. I don't know, just a weird thing that I've only just come across with this particular figure. I've not really seen it on anything else, but it still, you know, works for all intensive purposes. He has a ball joint in the ankle, and he also has a rocker joint as well. But what a beautiful figure to go with a beautiful vehicle. I mean, if you are going to consider it an accessory as well, he does come with Grogu, which is very, very tiny, of course. It's pre-posed. If we can just get a fair enough looking at him. He's holding the gear shift knob in his hand, and he's sort of posed up as if he's pressing against the glass, like we see in The Mandalorian Season 3 when he's looking at the space whales, of which is absolutely adorable, and couldn't come at a more apt time with the episodes that we've had recently, of Ahsoka, of course. But really, a really wonderful little figure. Additionally as well, he does have a little peg hole in the foot, so when you actually put him in the N-1 to his little pod here, just take the dome off, there is a little peg socket, so that keeps him nice and in place when you are doing the zoomies with the vehicle, which is absolutely fantastic. A really, really cute little figure. There's no articulation, it is just a solid piece, so you can't really call it a figure, it's more of an accessory. That's really it in terms of features. There's no firing missile launchers, there's no gimmicks. It is very much a collector display piece. I feel like it's somewhat potentially missing something. I think it's just about there. It's just about there price-wise, because I can appreciate with inflation, I know that we're not going to get a £25 Naboo Starfighter at this point anymore. I do think it was a missed opportunity to include Peli and her menagerie of droids within this pack, just to get that character out into the line a little bit quicker. One big thing though that really does elevate the price point is definitely the inclusion of the figure of Din and all the accessories that he comes with. It is almost an ultimate Din Djarin. I know some people might argue against that, but for me, for my mileage, everything that I could really want with him, bar the Amban rifle, that would have been a nice inclusion if they included that, but just slightly disappointing that they didn't. But the fact that they included a display stand, not just one display stand actually, but two, is really, really appreciated. So you've got this transparent one that you can build up, so you can actually have this sat a little bit lower on your shelf, or you can have it on this big chunky stand, of which I think I'm definitely going to have it on. And if you have got the Razor Crest, which comes with a similar stand like this, it's going to pair beautifully with that. So kudos to Hasbro for that. It's not really something they've included with standard vehicles in the past, so I really appreciate that they did include it with this, and that does sort of elevate the price point for me. Overall, it's a really, really good figure and vehicle packing set. There's some really cool details. Yes, features are a little bit lacking, but this is definitely marketed for people who want to have this out on display. It's not really a kid's toy, it is an adult collectible. What a beautiful piece it is with that in mind. Absolutely stunning. I'm really, really pleased that I've picked this up. So yeah, that's my review of the Mandalorian's N-1 Starfighter. Have you picked this up? Are you intending to pick this up? Sound off in the comments down below and let me know. And while this is me, Daniel1000, saying please don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. Signing out, and thank you very much for watching.